Hey folks, and welcome to CarStarz 10 Wild Facts about Nash's 71 Hemi Cuda Convertible and the 1996 TV series Nash Bridges. Fact number 1. There were 4 different 1970 and 1971 Plymouth Cudas and Barracudas used to portray the 71 Hemi Cuda Convertible in the 6th-season run of the show. As Mopar enthusiasts would probably assume, there were certainly no real 71 Hemi Cuda convertibles used in the show. For those unaware of just how special a real Factory 71 Hemi Cuda convertible is, we'll get into that a little bit later. However, there was technically a 5th car that was a gutted-out 72 Barracuda hardtop with the roof cut off that was only used for this single explosion scene for Season 6, Episode 14. That car was sold, parted out, and scrapped afterwards, so it no longer exists today. As for the 4 main cars used throughout the show, however, they do all still exist today and are in the hands of private owners, and we'll be getting into some specifics on them. The studio actually numbered each Nash Bridges Cuda they built, so we'll go through each one in order with some up-to-date details of each, so stay tuned. Fact number 2. As for what powered the Nash Bridges Cudas, well, across the 4 different cars, there were actually 3 different Chrysler V8 engines used, ranging from 318s up to a 440. This, of course, meaning that at any given time that you see a Cuda on screen, it may be powered with around 150 to 330 net horsepower. In addition to the engine variations was the transmission differences from one car to another. Half of the cars were sending that power to a 4-speed manual transmission, and the other 2 a 3-speed automatic transmission. Although there were definitely no high-powered Hemi engines on set, these fake 71 Hemi Cuda convertibles could still get around quickly enough with Wildman Nash at the wheel. Fact number 3. Don Johnson actually did a lot of the aggressive stunt driving of the Cuda in the show himself, minus the more dangerous stuff, that is. Funny enough, during some of that aggressive driving for the pilot episode, Don actually blew the engine of the primary number 1 Hero 340 powered Cuda. Instead of having the 340 rebuilt, they went forward with the installation of a slight upgrade to a 360 engine in place of it. Well, I guess that's one way of testing the limits of your co-star car the first time out driving it for an episode, although a pretty harsh way to do it though. Fact number 4. A real 1971 Hemi Cuda convertible is actually the rarest of the rare when it comes to American muscle cars, as there was less than a dozen of them ever built. So, obviously, a TV production like this would never be able to acquire any of the real cars, and wouldn't even try to, fortunately. Apparently, this extremely low build volume is because by 71, convertible cars in general had lost popularity significantly, and were mostly seen as unfavorable vehicles by the public at the time. A prime example of their extreme rarity and modern value is this all-original 1971 Hemi Cuda convertible that sold at a Mecum auction in 2014 for a whopping $3.5 million. Even crazier yet is this France export Winchester Gray 71 Hemi Cuda convertible that came up for bid at Mecum Indy in 2021 that had a bid placed of $4.8 million. But even that high of a bid wasn't enough to break the reserve price. We can only imagine how much one of these convertible beasts would be worth today. Fact number 5. One small detail that changed after the pilot episode that some fans noticed and most probably didn't was the change of the shade of yellow paint used on the Cudas. The cars were initially painted a factory shade of yellow known as Lemon Twist, but the production team didn't like how it looked on camera, feeling that it blended into the sunny backgrounds too much, being so light of a color. So, a change was commissioned and the cars were repainted a bit darker shade of yellow, which was actually the same shade of yellow that was used on Caterpillar's industrial vehicles at the time. This shade of Caterpillar yellow was made by PPG Industries, and the color code is number 80021. Interestingly enough, there was a Chrysler-produced truck line in 1983 that had this exact same color option as well, but it was known as DT2077 within Chrysler. Fact number 6. The Nash Bridges 71 Cuda clone number 1 was the primary hero car in the show with the most screen time, and as previously mentioned, was originally a 340 powered 70 model Barracuda convertible. This was the car that Don Johnson drove the most, and it became his favorite car to use in the series, so much so that Don kept the Hero Cuda after the show ended. This car has traded hands a number of times, including being sold once at Barrett-Jackson's in 2003 and on eBay back in 2012. The Hero car has now been fully restored twice since the show. Its most recent restoration brought this famous ride up to quite an impressive level, too. Both visually and performance-wise, as it now packs a punch with a real 426 Hemi and still sports a 4-speed manual transmission. Boy, that thing would sure be a blast to drive, wouldn't it? Fact number 7. The Nash Bridges 71 Cuda clone number 2 was mostly used for stunt driving for the chase scenes and was originally a 318-powered 70 Barracuda convertible with a 3-speed automatic transmission. This car has also traded hands a number of times since the show, and one unique point about this car is it still retains the camera mounts and camera wiring that was utilized when filming the show, as you can see here. This Cuda was also treated to a full restoration some time ago, and has also had the privilege of a real 426 Hemi engine installed as well. It also retains the 3-speed automatic transmission setup. Fact number 8. The Nash Bridges 71 Cuda number 3 was mostly used as a backup to the Hero car and was powered by a 440 with a 3-speed automatic transmission, although the car originally came with a 318. Most of the dubbed-over engine sounds you hear in this show were recorded from this car, as it was the only big block powered Cuda of the 4. Unlike the other 3, if you saw this Nash Bridges car out and about, you may not necessarily be able to recognize it from the series, as it looks quite a bit different today. This Cuda underwent a full Restromod upgrade overhaul a couple of years back. So it now has a more modernized look to it with an updated black interior and sports a modern Hemi engine, sending the power to a 5-speed manual transmission. Love it or hate it, but I'm sure this ride could keep up with most any modern muscle car out there today. Fact number 9. The Nash Bridges 71 Cuda number 4 was used for the rough stunts, was referred to as the jump car, and is a 318-powered 71 Barracuda convertible with a 3-speed automatic transmission. Since this car was to be used for the abusive stunts, which is primarily flying off those steep and sharp San Francisco hills at speed, this car had a significant amount of reinforcement work done to the chassis. However, despite all the extra structural support applied, the car reportedly still took quite a bit of chassis damage and never handled correctly again after its use in the series, despite repair attempts. Surprisingly, this car is still around today as well. However, it is the only one of the 4 that has not been restored, so it remains just as it was when it was last used in the show. Fact number 10. As for scale models of the Nash Bridges 71 Hemi Cuda convertible, fortunately, since the series was quite popular, there was some official merchandise including scale models. We have official forms of both die-cast and plastic kit models here. The best of the best is this excellently detailed 1/18 scale model from the brand name Highway 61. However, these have become highly sought after collector's items now, which means these typically go for well over $500 on eBay today. A much more obtainable die-cast option would be this 1/64 scale model from Johnny Lightning. These typically go for around $30 on eBay. If you want to go the plastic model kit route, there was a great official 1/24 scale model released by Revell. These typically go for around $50 on eBay. It should also be noted that this is really the only convertible 71 Cuda kit released to date, so there really aren't any cheaper kit options out there at present. And for those who haven't seen it yet, I have recently created my own diecast car channel named Show and Tell Diecast that I display and detail my diecast models that I now add videos to weekly also. I will include the link to the new channel in the video description below as well for those interested. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here. You guys are all great. See you next time.